myself and we'll get started with the course. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Arthur. I will be your QA teacher. Welcome to TechStart. Welcome to our free course. We do this course for people like you every 3 months. And the goal of this course will be actually to show you that QA is easy, coding is easy, and what the profession this is, right? Because eventually most of you came here just to touch base, to actually learn the profession. And the reason is very simple, because sometimes people, they think, okay, I heard many people, they just found a job, a QAs, you heard something maybe from the internet, from your friends, but you didn't know, never know, right, if this is something you would like to do. So what people end up with, they look for some courses, they go and pay for the course in advance. Usually all the courses, they are paid in advance, so you paid for the entire course. Then you start learning that new profession for a week or two, and then you realize this is not something that you would like to do. So you just leave and losing the money, because nobody will give you those money back. So you just lose the money, you lose your time, ending up with just understanding that this is not your profession, which is okay. And that's why we do this course. Most of the people, we have 100 people in our chat who actually joined this course. Not everybody is here. We have just only 21 person at this live meeting currently, but we have 100 people in our chat. And most of those people will not join the course. Somebody will be just thinking that it's not, maybe somebody will not like me. Maybe somebody will not like the profession in general. So they will not join the course, which is okay, but they will actually try the profession at this course. It's completely free, and will realize if this is something they would like to learn and do in the future, or probably this is not something they would like to do and they need to look for something else. Especially it's important for new immigrants. Usually people come to the United States and they actually decide maybe do some tracking business, maybe go and do Uber or Lyft, or maybe go and learn QA, right, and do that. But if you don't know what the QA is, you never know if you need to pay for it, right? And don't make that decision up front. Don't pay money up front. Just take such courses. We always recommend to come not only to our course, but go to different schools, right? Go to one school, to another school. Almost all schools, they have some trial lessons, some free courses, maybe a week of the courses, maybe like 3 weeks like we do, right? And then you learn from that. You meet people, you meet other students, you meet teachers, and you see who you like the most. And you see if you like the profession in general. And then if the answer is yes, then you go and join the main course, and get the profession. So let me actually, so even before I start, I prepared some presentation for you just to explain what we're going to do during the course, and show you actually what we're going to do today on this lesson, and we'll go from there. But even before I do that, do you guys have any questions for me before I start? Maybe some general questions, something you would like to know? Okay, seems like no questions. So here, there is a beautiful feature in Google Meet. It's called Raise Hand. You can see it where you have a camera, when you have a microphone icon. So to the right, you have also Raise Hand functionality. So whenever you have a question, click that button. You will see something like this, right? You see that I'm raising a hand. And this is how I see your hand as well. That means you have a question. So then I just stop and give you the word, give you the chance to ask me a question. Yeah, so this is how it works. Okay, seems like no questions. Let me quickly share my screen. Oh, wrong button. And then you tell me if you see my screen. Okay, guys, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Nice. Okay, so let me turn. Okay, so first of all, I partially explained this, but the goal of this course, the entire course, you will be trying yourself in a role of software engineer. It will be QA engineer on manual QA course. It will be development engineer on coding course and automation, especially on automation course, because coding basics is more like preparation, learning the language itself. But automation, it will be more like an engineering lesson, and you will try yourself as an engineer. So what usually those engineers, those software engineers, do at their job, right? So that's what you will going to learn here. You are trying to play that role, because what we're going to do, we're actually going to give you some tasks to do that other people who work in the industry do as well, and how their work looks like. So you will feel yourself in those shoes, in their shoes, and you will decide whether you like this profession or not. So on QA course, we're going to work with the software requirements, and I will explain you a bit later what is that. Just the documentation we usually work with and start with. Then you will plan your testing, and you will start creating test cases. Then we will be testing web application. And whenever you find software bugs, problems, you will actually, oh, thank you, I got my tea. And you will start reporting software bugs whenever you find problems in the application. Also on the coding basics, you'll be learning coding basics. You will be, actually, we do coding basics to prepare you for test automation. And on our main courses, actually, the coding basics is also free. We just, prepare you for the next level courses. Whenever somebody wants to take the automation course or front-end development course, that's like a preparation. So you will learn coding basics on the next 2 lessons, and the lesson after that will be test automation. So you will build your test automation framework from scratch, and you will create your first automated tests, and that will be super exciting. Believe me, you will be amazed. Yeah, and also you will get resume creation tips, interview tips. We will actually overview the job market, what's going on right now with the job market, with all the remote trends that are there on the market right now, and etc. So this is how it works. Oh, give me just a quick second. I have an important call. I'm sorry, guys, for a tiny interruption. Okay, and also you will be able to meet our team, try our teaching approach, how we actually teach you. Please feel like home. So at TechStart, we have like a family environment. So you just, you treat people like your family members. So our students like our family, our chats, they exist forever. People stay in those chats forever. And also a lot of my students, they are my friends right now, especially local students. I usually either play soccer with them or play other intellectual games, or invite them for different parties, and they invite me for different parties, or we go to hiking, whatever. A lot of people, my students, they are actually my friends right now in my real life, because we met sometimes, after the course or during the course, and then started hanging out together. Yeah, and you will even have a chance to get bonuses. So we have a special program. We like motivate the most active people, the people that want to actually get the profession. So what we do, it actually win-win combination, because it's great for us, it's great for you. So we give you some project tasks, right? So during the lesson, I explain you how it works, and we have a small project, and we give you like a homework. So the homework, actually, it's a project task. You need to do something on the project. And if you complete that successfully, you complete all project assignments during the course, we give you the huge discount for the main course. So we actually motivate those people who really want to join the main course and who want to learn the profession, who are motivated to actually get a discount. We give them discount because usually this is how it works. Usually people who complete the homeworks, they actually get the job first. They actually the most successful students because they are most motivated. And this is another topic for our resume creation and job interview tips, that I will explain you what actually plays the most important role during the interview. And you will see that it's your motivation, your proactivity, what people look for during the interview when they interviewed you. It's not about, believe me, it's not about your technical skills. They are important as well, but they will make a decision based on how motivated you are and how you actually proactive and how actually you're ready to actually tackle the challenges. So, and that's how it works. So we actually, it's a win-win combination. We actually give discounts for the most motivated people, and they are the best students for us because they are most motivated. We don't have any problems with them, and we actually are super happy with those students, and they are happy with us. So like a win-win combination for us. Okay. So this is how our free course will look like. So week number 1, this is today. We have first manual QA lesson. And tomorrow you will have coding basics lesson. Next week, you're going to have a manual QA again on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, coding basics. Yeah, Oksana, I will explain everything to you. Yes, manual QA again and coding basics again. And then next week, you will have test automation, and you will have resume and interview lesson. Yeah, and it will be 3 weeks. So Oksana, answering your question, you said, is the free will be only 1 month? It's actually not even 1 month, it's only 3 weeks. So in those 3 weeks, your goal is just to understand whether this is something you would like to do or not. So this course, as I explained on the previous slide, just for you to understand how you feel in that profession. If this is something that you would like to do, and decide whether you like manual QA more, as this is something which is easier for you to do, or maybe you want to do coding basics and test automation right away. You want to learn test automation. You don't want to stop at manual QA stage and work for a couple of years in manual field and then move to automation. Maybe you want to move to automation right away. This is what the most students do right now. So the most students, they actually go to test automation directly. They don't take manual because there is a lot of manual jobs, but on automation, it's easier to find the job. It requires more education, but it's easier to find the job because there is a less competition. Yes, and answering your question, so we do this course, this free course. Oh man, why it's not? Yeah, so why we do this course? We do this course for you is just to give you that understanding about the profession. But our main course takes 3 months. Manual QA course takes 3 months. Our automation course, it's a 2-level. Well, let me actually show you. Start dev. If you go, so this is how the path, the regular path looks like. So this is how you can actually learn different professions in IT in our school. So 1 level, it says 2 months. Actually, it's 3 months. Let me go to all courses. Yeah. So this is how manual QA looks like. So manual QA takes 3 months. 3 months. And this course is paid. It's not free. And the reason is very simple, because we actually, and I will show you, we add you to the big project. We buy licenses for you. We put you on a project like a real project. And from day 1, those students who join our main course, they actually not just learning like from slides, from using like free tools like Google Docs, right? And something like that, and spreadsheets, like a free tooling. No, we actually add you to our Azure DevOps. This is the project management system where companies will actually manage their projects. We have a couple of projects here, and actually you will be, we have multiple servers. We have different environments. We have licenses for you. So we buy you a license to add you here. And all those tools we buy for you. Like a company, when you join the company, they have to pay actually for every employee they have to add them to every system. Of course, for the company who pays you like $100,000 a year, paying for you another like $10,000 a year, it's not a problem. It's just like, part of your salary. You can imagine that company pays not only your salary, the company pays for you also taxes, and also company pays for different licenses for you. So in order to make our course as close to the real experience as possible, so you actually learn on the real project. So on the very first day on our main course, we will add you to the project, and you will learn on the project environment. We'll just say, hey, this is how people join the project, and this is what you start from on the project, and then what you do next. And we do several iterations. So actually, we complete several sprints, so like several iterations on our project, and in that way, you actually get the, you know exactly what you do, right? You do several iterations, several releases on our project, and you know exactly what happens in the company. So by the end of the course, you are not just, have a theoretical knowledge about the what software tester does. You actually have a practical understanding what software tester does, and because you will do all of that. You will actually work on the project. So that's why that course is not free. It cannot be free, and that's actually the reason why I never recommend people to go to free courses, because free courses, it's a trade-off, right? You go to the free course, and for me, I used to do free courses. I'm doing QA education since 2014, so it's like 8 years already. And I used to do free courses, and the main problem is two problems, actually. One problem is usually a lot of people join, like sometimes it's 1,000 people join the free course, and 99% of them are not motivated. They don't join lessons, they don't complete homeworks, they actually demotivate other students. So there is sometimes the people just listen, they don't participate in the course because it's free. They don't have a motivation. So a lot of people join, and really 1% of them only motivated to complete the course and find a job. So that's another thing. And it's a lot of work for the teacher because it's 1,000 people. And on the other hand, they are not motivated. They just waste your time. They demotivate other students because they don't complete homework. And there's just few people who actually learn the course. So of course, and the second trade-off is whenever course is free, you never create company-like environment. You cannot create a real project, create a real servers, put people on a real work environment, because you have to buy licenses. You have to buy tools that the company are using, right? The real tools that you have paid money for. So you end up with using Google Docs, you end up with using Google spreadsheets, and this is what we're going to use during this free course, right? Because those are free. You don't have to pay for them. But if you want to teach people in the real environment, you have to pay for that. And actually, so the students pay for that. You pay actually to being able to actually learn in a real company environment. So that's the main reason why the course is not free. So answering your question, yes, the free course is 3 weeks only. The main courses are much longer because I won't be able to actually give you that knowledge that you will be able to find the job during just 3 weeks. So the main course is 3 months, just manual QA. And this is how it looks like. If you want to go to test automation, you have to take manual QA and coding basics in parallel for 3 months. And then you take test automation for another 3 months, and that's it. You learn test automation in 6 months. And this is the advantage. This is exactly why we give you coding basics in parallel, even during free course. Because this is free. This is, if you, for example, somebody takes manual QA, we give this for free. So people, because what happens, usually what happens out there in the world, people learn manual QA, they work for a year or for 2 years, and they have to start from scratch. They actually have to go take coding basics first and then test automation. So the test automation course will take 6 months anyways, because you will have to learn coding first, and then the tool itself, the automation tools that you use for automation. So it takes like 6 months if you start from scratch. So people who actually do that separately, they will have to spend more time. They spend 3 months for this, then work, and they have to go again and spend another 6 months. So what we do, we tell you, hey, learn manual QA and coding basics for free in parallel, right? People learn this, and then they are ready for test automation or for front-end development. If you learn coding basics and manual QA, and you realize, oh, testing is not interesting, I would probably better to learn front-end development or test automation. So you just need coding basics for that. So for test automation, you need both, but you have both for sure all the times. And all students take those courses courses together all the times. So there is no single student who usually takes separately. Usually all students, they take those courses in parallel, and then by the end of the course they decide, I love coding basics more, then I go to front-end development. Or no, I like testing, but I would like to do not manual testing, but test automation. And they go to test automation right away because they are ready for it right away after 3 months. Or they just stop saying that, okay, I will start with manual, and maybe like in 2 or 3 months, I will come for test automation, which is also okay. Because sometimes people want to start with manual testing and then come back in a couple of months. But again, they don't have to start from scratch because they already have this. Right? So this is how the main course looks like. But today, again, we're going to focus on the free course. So free course is for you, is to learn the profession. So you know exactly whether you need to pay for the main course or maybe go to another school, right? Again, I'm suggesting you not to only take one free course, go to different schools, because you need to check whether you like these teachers, you like this course, their approach, and etc. Their price, because prices are different as well, and etc. So this is how it looks like. So during this 3 weeks free course, you're going to learn basics. Of course, you will be able to learn what is QA looks like, and you will be actually practically doing some things on our mini project. We will have mini project anyways, and you will be able to build your test automation. And actually, if by the end you feel that this is something you would like to do, and you like us, and you would like to join our main course, and you complete all the homeworks, we will give you the huge discount for the first month. So we will motivate those who actually deserve that. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so why it says 2 months? I believe I fixed it last time. So this is what I just explained you, right? So this is how QA path looks like. Usually it's manual QA for 3 months. Again, this is a bug. We found the first bug. 3 months, and then 3 months in parallel coding basics, and then you go test automation. This is how QA path looks like. After test automation, of course, you may switch to front-end development or mobile development, whatever, because you will have some knowledge over here. But usually people work in test automation for a couple of years, at least a year, before switching to something more complex. But this is how QA path looks like, because then you are switching to development. And development path looks like you take coding basics. This is the prerequisite. Of course, in parallel, you may take manual QA and then realize that you like coding better. Then you actually learn front-end development. And then what you can do, for 3 more months, you can either go to backend or mobile development. Those are also 3 months. This is a bug. Yeah, I need to fix it. It's 3 months. Backend development and mobile development. So all those courses in our school, they based on each other. So that's why, because if you take mobile development separately right now, it will probably take for you like at least like 6 months, just without learning front end. But in our case, everything is based on each other. So you learn this course is based on the previous one. So you already have all the knowledge for this one. So you know what to do in front end development. And then you actually go to mobile development. Okay, so let me actually explain you what we're going to do and what quality assurance. So QA means quality assurance. You ensure quality on the project, right? And what we do on the project is usually 4 main things. So first of all, we work with the requirements. What is the requirements? So requirements are just documentation about how product will have to work, how product will have to work once we develop it. So could you please tell me, what happens if you, let's say, buy a new refrigerator, for example, or you buy a same robo vacuum, right? There's a popular trend right now where people buy those small robo vacuums and they just vacuum the floor for them in the kitchen area, for example, and etc. So, but you buy it, you don't know how to use it. So how do you usually know how to use that new device that you just purchased? This is the question for you. What do you usually do?
Look at the instruction manual.
Yeah, that's correct. So I see that Katerina saying that, yes, we're reading the instructions, manual, that's correct. So the requirements are actually the manual, but the manual for the product that is not existing, it doesn't exist yet, because requirements is something that developers will be basing on to create that application or that product. So whenever you create some new mobile application, whenever you create some web application, right? Everything right now in either our mobile devices or our browsers in the web. So all those applications, they are planned, at some point they were planned to be created. So how we do that? We actually have requirements for them. So there are people responsible for creating the requirements for the future product. And that product doesn't exist yet. We will actually use those requirements to create it. So developers, they work with the requirements because they actually will create the application based on them. So they need to read them and understand them. And we will be testing the application based on those requirements as well. So before developers, they create the first version of the application for us, the first version of that program for us, we actually also prepare. We try to read the requirements, and we try to find if everything is clear for us, right? Because sometimes what happens, this is not something that people create in one day. Requirements are usually created by creating a draft version first, then it's getting updated, then that person who is responsible for requirements getting another update for the customers or whoever. If we are the company who actually creates this product for some another company, that company will be sending us some high-level requirements, and we will be describing them in low level, saying that, okay, this is actually how we're going to create it in detail. And so those requirements that are getting updated a lot of times. And what happens? Sometimes people forget to remove some information. Sometimes people forget to clean something up. Sometimes people forget to delete something or update something, right? Or whatever happens, those are human errors. Again, there is a Latin sentence saying that humanum errarum est. So it means like it's normal for people to make errors, right? So this is what happens, actually. People make errors and people make mistakes, and that's why we have software bugs, because developers are human. And that's why we have problems in the requirements, because those people who create them, they are humans as well, and they make mistakes. And our goal as testers, the first thing that we do, we'll look for those problems. We'll look that there are no contradictions. There are no two parts of the requirements that contradict each other. We actually look for problems when there's ambiguities or incompleteness. Something is incomplete. You are just not able to understand how it works because there is something that is not described. It's incomplete. So we look for those problems. We just try to understand whether everything is clear for us or not. Look, like you open the manual in trying to understand how your new application or new device works, and you're not able to understand it, right? Because it's not clear, it doesn't describe a part of the functionality or something like that. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Our goal is to have a full picture at the end. So how we do that? We actually read that instruction, that documentation, try to understand it. Again, we don't have any application, any device yet. We just try to imagine how it works. Usually there are some design pictures, how it's supposed to look like in the future, and in the text description. By the text, they describe how it works. And you try to understand how it works. If you find problems, you work with those people who are responsible for the requirements and ask questions. Hey, what's going to be in this case? And what if I do this? What's going to happen, right? And then they give you the answer, update the requirements, and you get the final version of them. So once you get the final version, you asked all the questions, you got all the answers, that's the first step. And that's what we do on every single project, because every single project starts with the requirements. So you work with that. Once you have the complete version, you don't have any questions, you actually achieved one important thing. You did this job for developers as well. Because if there are incompleteness, if there are ambiguities, contradictions, developers are going to make mistakes and create more bugs. So the quality of that software, of that application, is not going to be very high. And by working on the requirements, you already improve the quality. Because as clear the requirements are, as better the quality of the application will be, because it will be more clear for the developers as well. Developers will understand them better as well because of what work you did, and they will create better version of the application as a result. So that's very important part of our work. Then once you have everything here clear, then you move to the next step. And the next step is actually plan your testing to create test cases. And it's very actually simple. I will show you on the next slide. You just plan your testing based on the requirements. You understand how it will work. And now you create list of test cases to actually make sure that it works as expected once it's created. Because after that, developers are going to give you the application, the first version of the application, and you're going to start testing. So your test planning is just literally making sure that you cover those requirements by tests. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you how it works. Then at some point, you're done with the test planning. Developers are done with their coding. So they created the first version of the application, and you start testing. You actually take your test plan, your test cases, and start executing them, which is just, go to each individual test case and making sure that it actually works as you expect. If it works as expected, you just pass it, mark it as passed, everything is good. If it doesn't work as expected, you actually go and report the bug, software bug, to let developers know that there is a problem in the application, that it doesn't work as we expect according to the requirements. And they fix this, you close them, you make sure that everything works as expected now, and then you go to the next iteration. Usually we don't develop system as a whole right now. So previously, like maybe many years ago, 20 years ago, companies used to develop like project as a whole. Like you can get an example like a Windows, new version of Windows. So it actually took several years for developers to code. And we were not working in this, like this. We were actually coming at specific time of the project, like at the end of the project, and just testing that for like several months, and that's it. That's all we did. But now we switch to Agile approach. So we have iterations. Usually those iterations, one iteration takes 2 weeks. One iteration is 2 weeks. And usually what you achieve in 2 weeks, you take a small piece of the application. If you can imagine, for example, so Facebook is developing Facebook Messenger, right? For example. So the first iteration will have, let's say, only login page and maybe forgot password page, and that's it. They will not develop anything else. So in the first iteration, they just have the coverage. There are like 10 developers working, maybe 5 QA people working on that part of the application. They develop only login page and forgot password page, and that's it. That's the scope of the first iteration. So you will be working on the requirements only for login page and forgot password page, and that's it. So you actually test all of that, and you go to the next iteration, and they say, okay, we have login page, we have forgot password page. Now let's create that user list page, right, where you have users in your Messenger application, right? Once you actually log in, you see a bunch of users. Let's create that page next. You create that page in requirements. But once you click on the individual user, nothing happens because there is no such page yet. And then in the third iteration, they will complete that page. And the fourth iteration, they will add some functionality or something like that. So this is actually how it works. So usually you take a small piece of the application and implement it in some small iteration, usually 2 weeks. And then maybe after 10 iterations, when you have something that users can use already, you actually release your first version of the application to your real customers. And maybe in 10 iterations, you already have login, forgot password, user list, ability to actually open specific users, send the message, maybe some first version of smiles, those emojis, right, and etc. And later you add more. So as you can see, you go to many applications that you have and see that they are updated, right? The application was updated. So how it happens? The team during those previous 2 weeks was working for on a new version of your application, and that team was adding new emojis, for example, or some new functionality for you to be able to edit your messages if it was previously not there. Maybe previously you were not able to edit messages. Now you're able to edit messages, right? So this is how we work on the applications right now. We just deliver small pieces of the application, and for every 2 weeks, we have this cycle. So you always have requirements for a small piece of the application. Then you plan for it, you test it. Then if there are problems that you find, you report bugs, you make sure that they are fixed, and then you go to the next iteration. You release at this point. You release the new version to the application to the customers, and you go to the next one. And like piece by piece, you develop very complex and huge applications. So this is how our QA work looks like. And what you can see right now, everything is very simple. Everybody can work and read the requirements. Once you have the requirements, it's easy to test plan. Once you have the test plan, it's easy to test. And once you're testing, it's obviously very easy to see whether the application works correctly or not, what you expect or not. And then you just report bugs. Okay, so let me just show you how it looks like. So usually this is how the requirements looks like, right? This is just an example of 2 requirements, right? Let's say we have the requirements for login button, right? We will have more, like you have a huge document that will describe this field, this button, this link, and etc. But in our case, I just took 2 requirements for login button. So it says, one of them says, login button should be displayed below the login form, right? This is the login form. The button is below it, right? So this is one requirement. And the second, the button color is blue, right? So this is the color of the button. Of course, there can be another requirement about the color of the text, another requirement about the size of the button, and etc. So there can be a lot of requirements, and there will be a lot about the color, about the location, and etc. So this is how the requirements looks like, but this is just an example of 2 requirements for the login button. So you have those requirements. You read them first and analyze. At this time, everything is pretty clear for me. I understand that the button should be here, and it should be button should be blue, below the login form in blue. If I don't have mentioned that it should be center aligned, then I will ask business analyst or the person who is responsible for the requirements. I will ask, hey, I see on the design spec, this is the design example, right? Design spec, that it should be located in the middle. Is that correct? Because it's not mentioned in the requirements. And business analyst answers yes or no, whatever. I will update the requirements, and etc. If I have it, then okay, then I understand everything, and I'm ready to go to the next step, which is create my test cases. And test cases are very easy because they are based on the requirements. So one test will actually say, make sure that login button displayed below the login form. This is the test that you will need to perform once there is a version of the application of this login form. And then make sure that login button is blue. And then maybe you have another requirement saying, make sure that login button is center aligned. Make sure that login button font color is white, right? And there will be more. But they are based on the requirements. So creating the test cases are very simple because they are based on the requirements. Our goal here is just to split them into separate tests, because sometimes business analysts using just human language, right? They are using human language, so they can put multiple requirements into one sentence, and you just need to break them down. Because business analysts may say, login button should be displayed below the login form in blue color and center aligned. And that can be one single sentence. It's not broken down like this. So your goal as a tester to break down that to 3 separate test cases. Login board displayed below the login form, the button is blue, and the color is white, the text color is white, right? Center aligned. So you break down that to separate test cases because you want to test location separately, color separately, something that can be broken separately, right? Because the button can be located in the middle, but with wrong color, can be with correct color, but located not in the middle, but aligned to the left, be not below the login form, but above the login form. So every single requirement should be a separate test case. And that's pretty much it. This is very simple job, right? As you can see, this is not something difficult. It doesn't require code knowledge or something like that. It requires only your logic and willing to learn and actually be motivated. Because of course, if people are lazy, they are not looking for like problems in the requirements, they're going to miss some things. But if you really want, okay, I want to find those problems in the requirements. I really want to find those contradictions, those ambiguities, right? Those people are the most successful because those people will find problems in the requirements. They will ask business analysts to answer questions and to update requirements, and they will get the final version of the requirements. Based on the final version of the requirements, it's very easy to create test cases because you will be just covering every individual requirement by every individual test case. And that's it. You will need to create a list of test cases that cover the entire thing that we're going to test in this cycle, in those 2 weeks. And that's it. You just cover them by test cases and wait for the developers to give you the first version of the application. So they give you the first version of the application, and you start testing. You start executing your test cases. You go to the first one and say, login button displayed below the login form. Yeah, it's displayed below the login form. So you mark it as pass. And then you see that login button should be blue, and you see that it's red, and you mark it as failed. Whenever your test case failed, you go and create a report about this problem, saying, hey, actual result, login button is red, but expected result, login button is blue. And that's it. So your goal during this sprint, during this cycle, those 2-week cycles, is to analyze the requirements and make them final and understandable for everybody. So ask many questions and make sure that you understand everything completely. Then once you have that, you create a list of test cases. You cover every single requirement by a test case. Then once you have the application, you start testing them. You go to one and say, okay, it works like this. Login button below the login form? Yes. Then you mark it as pass and move on. Whenever you get the X, the failure, you create the bug report. And those bugs for developers to fix until you get everything fixed. Your goal to find every problem in this version of the application and report to developers. They will fix it. Then you will check them again, those bugs that they are fixed. And you just go to the next version of the, again, to the requirements for the new version of the application. At this time, you will just release this to the customers and go to the next cycle, work on another piece of the requirements, another test cases, and etc. And it's very easy, actually. You will find all bugs whenever you work on the requirements completely. You covered all the requirements by the test cases. There is no chance you miss anything because you will go and execute and test every individual test case. And there is no chance for you to miss any problems because if you have well-prepared test cases based on the well-prepared requirements, there is no chance to miss. It's just a very straightforward work then. You go and make sure that this is implemented correctly, this is implemented correctly. If not, you report a bug, and developers have to fix them until you get the final result that looks like this. If you develop this, again, remember, you deliver the first version of the application to the customers and go ahead and start implementing something new, some new features, new pages, and new functionalities. This is how our work looks like. So today, we're going to work on the requirements and test cases. The next lesson, we're going to actually execute the test cases, test them, and report bugs. So this is how our free course will looks like. Today, this. Next week, this. Okay. Now, the next step for me will be actually introduce you the requirements, explain you. I will be playing the role of the business analyst, the person who actually is responsible for the requirements for you on this mini course. And what I will do is actually, before you start working on the requirements, business analyst introduces the new functionality, new application to you, to testers, to developers, just overall like introduction, how the application looks like, how it works. And then you start reading the requirements and create test cases. That's pretty much your goal for today, for our mini project, for today's lesson. So your goal will be to read the requirements, ask questions, and then based on the final version of the application, create the test cases. Because the next lesson will actually, so the next lesson will start with reviewing your test cases. I will provide you feedback about your test cases, whether you did everything correctly or not. And after that, we will actually start executing them and report bugs. That's pretty much it. That's how our work, QA work, pretty simple work, nothing difficult. I think personally everybody can do this. Of course, lazy people, they have problems because they don't want to really pay attention to the requirements and look for problems. They don't really want to break logically down every single requirement to every single test case they actually combine. So they don't do very clean work. But if you are really just, pretty active, regular person, the only thing that you need is the logic for this job, just to be able to understand whatever we are developing, then cover that by test cases, which is very simple because you based on the requirements, and then you go and test them, which is marking pass or fail whenever you have the application, and that's it. If it fails, you report a software bug. That's in general how our job looks like. Of course, there are some test design techniques that we use. That's why the main course takes 3 months, of course, and we actually give additional knowledge for students. We teach API testing, we teach how to run automation pipelines, even as a manual tester, not to create automation, but how to run it and how to analyze results and etc. So we give some additional knowledge, of course, beside just this. But in general, QA job looks like this: analyzing the requirements, creating test cases, testing them, and reporting bugs. That's pretty much it. If you can do this, if you logically feel that this is something simple, you already can do this job, because this is not something difficult. And that's exact reason why there is so many people looking for QA positions, because it's not something difficult to do, right? People learn this, they take some courses, and they go and look for the job. And that's why there is a high demand, right? There's a lot of people looking for manual jobs on the market because it's easy. It's not something difficult. And that's another reason why maybe you need to think about automation, not manual, because on automation, it's longer to learn. It's more difficult to learn because it involves coding, but it's much easier to find a job because there's less people looking for the automation jobs on the market. Okay, before I switch to the project and to the requirements, do you guys have any questions for me? Maybe something about the courses, something about the process in general, whatever. I can go back to one of the slides and explain you again. Okay, seems like everything is clear. That's either very good or very bad. When would be the next classes? So the next class, coding class. So tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m., you have a coding class. 7 p.m. in California. I don't know where you're from, but 7 p.m. in California, it's like 10 p.m. in New York, so or Florida. So tomorrow it's a coding basics. Next week, same Tuesday, because don't think that there is a break between like Wednesday and Tuesday. Yeah, but you will have home assignments, you will have project assignments to work to do. So you will have something to do in between those days, right? We will work actually in remote mode because what we will need to achieve between today and next Tuesday, you will need to actually work on the requirements. And in the remote mode, I will be actually answering your questions as a business analyst in updating the requirements. And once we get the final version of the requirements, I will send you the message in the chat saying that, hey, the requirements are ready, go and start test planning. And you will start test planning, because by the next Tuesday, I need your test plan, your test cases. because we will start executing them next Tuesday, right? So we will work in remote mode. I will be checking your test cases in the meanwhile. So before Tuesday, I will check your project assignments and what you have completed as well, like a homework. Recording is available, yes. So we actually post everything. We usually create new playlist on our YouTube channel, and when you open the playlist, you will see everything. You will see all the lessons. Okay, let me actually show you how that works. So if you go to Slack, to the Slack, so this is the Slack channel that we use, Free September, right? So it's always better to open it on the computer. Of course, you can open it on mobile phone, and we all have it on mobile phone, because even I have several channels, not channels, several organizations here, because I switch between my account, this account, my job account, and etc. Right? So people, if some people are texting me from my job, I have my notifications on my phone as well. So we have Slack on our phone, but the main work is done on computer. On computer, because we want to actually do something on computer. It's the most convenient way to actually open this link from computer right away. So if you go to this chat, you always see the link to the lesson. It's the same link all the times. So you just click it today, you click it tomorrow, it will be the same link, right? Here's another link over here for video call. Here you see one pinned message. You click on it and you see the first message I posted about the schedule of the course, right? August 30th, requirements and test planning, 31st, introduction to JavaScript, September 6th, text execution bug reporting, 7th, function in JavaScript, and etc. You have all of this, right? Oh, actually, what is this? 15th, I need to fix this as well. Let me actually fix this right away. Oh, September, it is here. I don't know why it's this. Yeah, safe. So you always have this pinned to the channel, and you always can see it. And also, I will add another bookmark over here. It will be about the recordings. The link to the playlist on YouTube with all the recordings. So once you open it, you will see first lesson today. After that, you will see, after tomorrow, you will see 2 lessons. After next week, you will see 4 lessons, and etc. So you will have the access to all the lessons all the times. Yes. So we will be pinning some important messages will be pinned, and some important links always will be on the top of the channel over here. And the link to the lessons are always over here. So everything is very convenient. Just join your Slack from your computer as well, because this is the main way how we use the Slack. And also we use it on our own mobile phones, because sometimes it's easier. You just went to the kitchen having lunch and somebody is texting you from your job. You just reply right away in Slack. So just on mobile phone, it just mostly like more like you use it as a messenger. Here you use it more like a work tool to do the job, right? Yeah, so this is how it works. Last link doesn't work for Slack, and I can. Last link doesn't work for Slack, and I can't sign in. So what do you mean last link doesn't work? Link where? This one? This link? What do you mean? Yeah. So Artyom, please tell me what you mean, because I cannot. Actually, I need to update this. Yeah, it actually works. Let me find it. Okay, Oksana, how to find info about full course prices? Oh, I will tell you. It's very simple. Very simple. So we have different prices. So this is the main price that usually we use. It's $5.99 a month. So we actually don't charge people for the entire course. Again, there's another level of improvements, right? Even if you took the free course and you thought, okay, this is something I like to do, but then you took the course for a month and then you decide to leave. You just pay this price because you pay monthly. We don't charge you. It's like a subscription. So this is the standard subscription. This is how you work in the group, and this is the regular thing. We have like a platinum, like special VIP plan for people who want to spend up to 2 hours with a teacher, one-on-one per week. This is per week. If you want to spend with teacher 2 additional hours, usually you don't need 2 hours. You spend you need 30 minutes one day, 30 minutes next day, and etc. So this is how our model looks like for our. So sometimes, so I have a student right now who actually took the course for 2 months, and then she left because she had some family-related issues. She left, and she wants to take next course from the beginning. So since she actually paid for 2 months already, so she will be paying this price as an existing student for the first 2 months, and then the last month will be the full price for her. And of course, we have this free. This is for people with disabilities. So if there are people with disabilities and they provide an evidence that they have a disability, we actually educate those people for free. And we actually have a couple of students who actually took the course for free, and they found jobs, and they're super happy because it was free for them, and they found the job, right? And what we do actually, another reason why we have monthly subscription, because again, we don't let some people who actually don't take the course seriously, who don't come to the lessons, who don't complete the homeworks, we actually let them go. We tell them, hey, I'm going to remove you from the course after the first month because you're not actually doing the homeworks, and actually you demotivate other people. We actually keep our courses very motivated, right? So everybody who are on our courses are super motivated. They find the jobs. That's why our percentage of successful cases is 100%. Of course, we still have people. We still have people who actually look for the job from the previous courses. But if you take several courses back, all the people from that time, they found a job. So some people from the previous courses, like a couple of courses back, they're still looking for the job. But if you take before that, 100% of people found the job. And the reason is very simple, because our approach is to get the most motivated students, give them the bonus, right? If you actually complete all the homeworks during this course, so you will get a huge discount here. I believe 50% for the first month. So first month for you will be $2.99. That's for those who complete the homework. And the reason is very simple, because if you complete all the homeworks, one, it's a huge preparation for you for the main course. Second, you will be one of the best students in our school. So that's why we give you this bonus to motivate you even more, and that works better for us. And that's the reason why we have monthly subscription, because on one side, we are able to remove people from the course. They just paid for 1 month, and we see that they demotivate other people. They don't complete homeworks. We just say, hey, please leave. We don't want you in our course. So we have only motivated people in our course. And there is no problem related to this, because we don't charge them in advance, and there is no reason for a conflict, right? They paid for a month, they got the course for a month, and they just left, right? And on the other side, this is the easier way for people to actually adjust their payment schedule and etc. So that's how it looks like. When I press join, I have a message like this link is no longer active. Okay, Artem, so I got it. This is the problem. So what we're trying to do, we've used this approach when you join our Slack, and then we actually take you from here, right? We post everything here from Slack. And I see that a lot of people had this problem with inactive Slack URL. So what we're trying to do next, we have a platform that people are using, our students are using, all the lessons that people have, they are recorded over here, right? And they have the access to all the lessons, all the recordings. So we have this platform, and this is developed by us. So our teachers developed this platform. And what we're going to do, we're going to actually implement probably the join functionality on our platform. So you actually go here, register here, and you get to the free course automatically. So you don't have to actually have that problem with an inactive Slack URL. So what you can do, send me your email. You can even send it over here in this message. I will send you the invite to the chat, and you will actually join the chat. Yeah. So actually, if you send me your email, I will actually invite you, and you will get notification on your email, and you will join directly the Slack. Okay. Okay. So, any other questions? So, Artyom, I'm looking for your email, and we'll go from there. Okay. Next thing, yeah, let's actually go to our application. So this is the requirements for our first version of the application. And again, remember, at this time, I'm playing the business analyst role. So business analyst is the person who usually responsible for the requirements. So person who gathers the requirements from consumers, from those people who ordered the application. Maybe it's some clinic or another company who ordered this application from your company, from your software development company. Or that may be internal application, like Apple developing those applications internally at Apple, and you gather the requirements from like high level, like directors, right? Because they have an idea to develop this nice application. So you gather like high level requirements for them, and then create some functional requirements based on your knowledge in software. So yeah, usually there is a design team. Business analyst works with the design team, gets the design from them, and then combines everything in this document. So in your goal, your first person you will work with is business analyst, the person who gathers the requirements and combines them into this document that you will be working with. So your goal at this point will be to read the requirements and make sure that you understand everything correctly and look for some gaps. So what you need to have here is just attention to details. Really try to understand. Yes, Artyom, I see your email, and let me quickly invite you. Yep, send the invitation. So you should get an invitation to the chat, and you will be able to join right away if you want to get it. No problem, Artyom. Okay, so yeah, as a business analyst, I will conduct a meeting first with you to explain you and developers the requirements in general, what we're going to develop, guys, and yeah, just describe everything. And you may ask questions, I will be answering them, but will be like high-level introduction, because then you will have to actually read it sentence by sentence and try to understand it in detail. So what we actually are developing, we are developing very simple application. It's called Get in Line. So during this free course, we will be actually building this application, and you will be testing it. So this Get in Line application is just, it's to regulate walk-in appointments for vaccination. So, with high demand for COVID vaccine, and for many clinics not being able to efficiently control the line of the people that come to the clinic, there was a demand for those clinics to actually have some nice way to actually manage that line. And we are going to actually develop this application for people to come to the clinic. They will have an iPad, right, on a stand, and people will go here, click get in line, and they will be able to fill their data in, select the vaccine, and click submit. And they will see themselves in this list of the people in line. So this application actually is very simple, one single page application. It will be displayed on the tablet, right, on iPad, for example, on the stand once you enter the clinic, and it will have this page, one page. It has some text, how many people in line. There can be like a lot of people in line. There is no limit actually, right? Of course, we don't expect like million people get in line during one day. So our application actually supports 1 million people in line, but there is no limit actually, right? But we actually know that maybe at one time it will be like 100 people maximum, because this is for small clinics. This is not something major that we develop. So there is a text showing that how many people in the line, and you have this table, right, with the number of person in line. So this is the next person to go to the doctor, and then and other people in line. And there have some unique IDs that I will tell you how they're formed later. And that's pretty much it. There is an image and get in line button that opens the registration form on the like a pop-up. So that's pretty much it that we are developing in this first iteration, first cycle. Okay. So what else I need to? So this guy should be 3 lines, and it should have here how many people in line. Should show how many people in line. So this should match with amount of people in line. This image size is static. It has a specific size. It never changes even, and it will always be the same screen. So you don't have to actually test it in different resolutions, because again, since this is the application for iPad, we don't have to care about any other resolutions, any browsers, etc. Right? We will test it in one single resolution, and that's it. Yeah, and once you click this button, this form appears where you fill your first name, last name, select your birthday, and select the vaccine you want to get, and click submit. If you click cancel, it just closes this window. If you click submit, it will actually add you to the list. It will add you to the end of the list and will update the number of people. So for example, you have 3, you click get in line, fill your data, click submit, and it will add you as 4th people in the line, and this guy should have 4. And that's pretty much it. That's all we need to deliver in this sprint, in this cycle, in the first 2 weeks. Of course, there are more, of course, for you to test, because there are specific requirements for the font that we're going to test, for the font size, for the color, etc. So there are more requirements. We will actually show you how to test this. You don't have to think about right now. You just need to cover every specific requirement by a separate test case. But I will show you how to actually test that this color is correctly displayed with this code, and the size of the text is correct. I will show you that on the next lesson. So, but today you just need to make sure that, okay, everything is covered, the text is covered, the alignment is covered, the color is covered, and etc. Okay. Another thing to know about this application is the table behavior, because table works actually, it has very specific behavior. So first of all, if there is 0 patients, so there is nobody in the line, you came to the clinic and nobody is there, you are the first one, it should be like this. It should show one single line, and it should show get in line to be the first, right? This text, once there is nobody in line. Once you added yourself in the line, you will see only 1 entry, and that's it. But maximum, this table displays 7 rows. Just to fit into one screen, it displays maximum 7 rows. And no more. 7 rows. Once you have more people, more than 7, it starts behaving like this. It shows 5 first, then ellipses, those 3 dots, it's ellipses, and the last person. So if you have 100 people, it always shows 5 people, then ellipses, and the 100th person in the line. So you always see the last one, how many people in general, and the 5 first, because you want to see those people who are getting vaccine next, but you are not interested in those because you know that there is a huge line, like 100 people maybe, right? So you always will see 5, then 6th line is ellipsis, and the 7th line, always 7th line is the last person in the line. So this is some specific behavior, some specific functionality the table has. So maximum 7. Once you have more, it again 7 lines, but it will display 5 only, then ellipsis, and then the last one, the last person in the line. So this is how the table behaves. Other than that, it's pretty simple. Yeah, how it works, it's pretty simple. Yeah, so this is the application we develop. And this is how the introduction will look like. This is how business analyst will actually introduce the requirements to you during the meeting. And after that, during that meeting, you may just ask questions to the business analyst. Do you have any questions so far, guys, for me as a business analyst? Maybe some specific you would like to know about some specific functionality here, and etc. Okay, so let's say you don't have any questions. Then the meeting will be ended, and you will go and start reading the requirements and try to understand them. So this part is just an introduction. This is not something you need to check. So you start from functional requirements. This is what you need to read. Okay, so let's just try to read everything precisely and try to find problems. So this is the first homework that you will have. Actually, I will send you the homework. You will have exactly the instruction, exactly what to do in your homework, right? And I will explain you what to do. I explain you right now what to do, how you actually leave comments for the business analyst, what is the process working with the business analyst, how you actually communicate to each other. Okay, so let's start reading together. After navigating to the application, user can see three sections, okay? Text area, image, table, and get in line. Anything that worries you here in this part? Yes, go ahead, Jacob.
There's 4 sections.
Yeah, that's correct. It says 3 sections. It actually describes 4 sections. And actually, I see 4 sections. And how that can happen? Easily. It used to be 3 sections in some old designs. There were a previous version of the design. Again, remember, requirements are not created in one day. They usually created in several iterations again as well. So preparation time before you start working on them. So business analyst works in advance. So creates a draft version and then updates them and then updates them again. And then maybe there was a decision to update the requirements with the new designs. So let's say in the previous version, there were 3 sections. But then people have decided to add an image, for example, right? To make it more nicer. And business analysts just forgets to update this. And that's why I updated this, updated one more section, added image, but forgot to actually update this one. And this is just, human error. So that's what you can see. It can be 3 sections, but obviously it's 4 sections. And it can be vice versa. It can be 4 sections in the past, and it describes 4 sections, and here something was removed. Some old design, something was there, it was removed, and you get those contradictions. So this is the contradiction, actually. You have 3 sections here, but obviously 4 sections described here, and I see 4 sections over here. Left, top, right top, bottom, left bottom, and right bottom. Yeah, so what we do as the testers, we select this part of the text that we are interested in and add a comment and say, I see 4 sections described below and on the design spec. And that's what you do, actually. You leave a comment. So then the next process, business analysts have to actually come here and reply to you. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. I updated the requirements. And you see that it was updated to 4, right? And then you, because you the person who asked this question, once you get an answer, you come, and if you get satisfied answer, you then click this resolve. So actually this comment disappears. Once you resolve this comment, it disappears. That means you got an answer, and that answer satisfies you. Now everything is clear. So that's how we work. This is very straightforward process. You leave a comment, business analyst has to answer the comment, right? And then once you like that answer, you resolve it, and it disappears. If you don't like that answer, maybe something was not updated or not fully updated, you leave another comment, and you keep this thread, message thread, alive until you get the final version, right, that satisfies you. And then you as a tester, you actually resolve the comment whenever you get the satisfying answer. So what we're going to do, of course, you are going to work as a team, and that's how we usually work as a team on the project, and you all read the requirements, and we all read the requirements. So we work as a team, right? And you never work on the requirements as a single person. Okay, there can be a possibility that if you join a startup, you can work on just your you will be the only person working the requirements, right? Because you will be the only key person there. So that's possible. But usually we work in some small teams with like 5 people in a team, and we all work on the requirements together, right? So you will be doing that the same. So if you actually agree, if you actually read the requirements and see that somebody else, like let's say Oksana was actually reading the requirements and she found this problem in the requirements and she left a comment. If you agree with this comment, you leave a plus from your name. Oh man, what is that? A plus. Plus. So I see this plus from you. That means, okay, you also found this problem and you agree with it, right? If you see that somebody didn't find the problem, you also mark it and leave a comment. Either clicking right button, selecting, clicking right, or you will see this icon on the right, add a comment, or clicking right button, mouse button, and adding comment as well. This is the process we work in, right? Other than that, it should be clear. So it matches with the design. It's 4 sections. Okay. Text area. This is about this. Located in the top left section. Okay, top left section. Good. Consists of X. What is X lines? X lines of text. What is this? I'm not clear. Maybe it was a placeholder. So what this means, probably it was a placeholder. Business analyst was not sure how many lines will be in the future. Then business analyst actually got the answer, but forgot to update this part. So it's like a, it's like ambiguity. It's unclear what is X lines, right? So what X means in this case, right? If you read the requirements and you agree with this, you also put plus. So I see everybody, the list of people who actually found this problem. I want to see pluses from you guys who also found this problem when reading the requirements. Okay, so there are X people in the line. Text is left aligned. Okay, seems like it's matching. This is the font family. It's hard to check somehow, but we will be able to make sure that it's true when we test. So for now, we just trust that this is correct. Font family is this. Font size is this. Color is this. Yeah, seems like everything's clear here. White star here. Let me just ask, is there any specifics about this? See, oh, but it is marked a star. Yeah, and then whatever. I believe there should be some comment over here about the star, like maybe whatever business analyst was actually explaining us during the presentation, that this should match with this. Maybe that was supposed to be actually described, and etc. Then you go and read actually every single requirement and try to understand it. Try to scroll back and take a look at the application window, how it will look like in general, and just make sure that everything you read matches with your with how you imagine the application in the future, right? For example, here, image is static. Okay, but what is the exact size, right? It doesn't say exact size. It's static, so it will not change. Okay, it will be the same, always the same size, but what is the size, right? So what I need to do is just ask image size is static. So what is the exact size of the image? Okay, and yeah, when you go one by one, try to understand, for example, table located in the bottom section. Oh, that's weird because it doesn't clear it's left bottom section or right bottom section. It's like 4 sections. So this is left bottom, this is right bottom section. It just says in bottom section. This is another question. And you like go one by one, just trying to fully understand the application, what they mean, and ask those questions. Because at the end, when business analyst answers those questions and updates requirements accordingly, you want to actually get that final version with where everything is clear, like super clear for you. You understand everything from it, and then you will be ready to start creating the test cases. Okay, this is how it works. Okie dokie. Any questions about the requirements and what we're going to do? So your project assignment till next Tuesday will be to read the requirement. This is one of them. Second will be test cases. One of them will be read the requirements and ask me questions. In few days from now, because I will start answering those questions as a business analyst for you, and we'll be updating the requirements. But at some point, I will tell you the requirements are complete. You go and start creating the test cases, just in the middle. So from that day till next Tuesday, you will need to create the test cases. And whenever something's ready, you send it to me, and I will show you how to do that. And yeah, and we'll go from there. I will check your test cases, provide you feedback, but we'll check them next lesson, and we'll start testing the application next lesson and reporting bugs. But today, our goal is to understand how to work with the requirements and how to create test cases. Okay, before we move to the test cases, any questions about the requirements and how we work with them? Okay, seems like no questions. Again, don't hesitate to raise a hand at any time to ask a question in the chat. You know, this is all about you. You came to this course because you had a reason, right? So don't waste this chance. This is your chance. Yeah, that works. Yes, Oksana.
Hi, Artyom. So why did you call it functional requirements?
Because they are we actually describe the functionality of this page, right?
Yeah, but the functionality is the only button because the other one is like UI.
Yeah, but why not? The text, how this changes is functionality. How the table changes is functionality. Of course, we don't break them to non-functional requirements, because usually what we call non-functional is like how easy to, for example, it's called user experience, right? How easy to use your application. That called non-functional user experience. That is non-functional. How, for example, how many users your application can support, like load testing. Oh, hello. My baby just came in. So usually everything, so we create the application, we create like layout, design, all of that is functional. All of that is functional because that are all how applications should function, right? Even this first log static text has a functionality, like number changes, right? But what we call non-functional requirements is usually how easy to use your application. That is separate beast. That UX designers, there's usability testers, usability testing. There are usability guidelines developed by the US government that you use actually test how usable your application is, how easy to use it, right? And that is a separate one. It's nothing to do with how your application behaves and looks. That's why when we develop the application, everything is included in functional requirements. How it looks like, the design, how it behaves like, which is obviously the functionality, right? How it behaves. But we call all of that functional. And non-functional is something like, okay, if we send 1,000 users to your application, web application, will we be able to process them or not? We will be doing load testing, stress testing, right? That is non-functional, or usability testing, that is non-functional. So that what we call non-functional, and this is what we call functional testing.
Gotcha.
How it will look like and function. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm glad that you're asking it because this is good to know. This is a very good question. It describes you like, okay, you are a person who are interested. Why is that, right? So that's good. Very good. Any other questions? Okay. So let's move to the test cases. So I prepared some template for you. So we usually use this template for creating the test cases, and then we save the file as Excel file, and we can upload it to the project here, like import file from Excel, and have the test cases here. That's what we usually use. But since we are not working on this project in this system, again, because this is the free course. You will be just doing them here, and I will show you how. But again, our goal will be just cover every single requirement by a test case, right? So let's see. So first of all, after navigating to the application, user can see 4 sections, right? So actually, I can just copy paste this. This is exactly what I need to say. But I will not say 3, I will probably say 4 sections, because this is what I'm expecting. 4 sections. And again, you don't do this now. You will do this once I fix all the requirements for you. Once we work on the requirements, I fix all the problems, I update the requirements, and you will have final version. That final version will be 4 sections, right? And the main rule here, you're not just copy pasting. Your goal is to create complete sentence, right? So if somebody takes one single test case without looking at anything else, they should be understand what to do. So imagine when you create a test case, always ask yourself a question. If I read this, just a single sentence separately without anything else, will I be able to understand what to do? If the answer is yes, this is correct test case. If the answer is no, this is something that you need to describe better. The name of the application, AV, is Get in Line. This is the name of our application that we are going to develop. Get in Line. This is the application called. Okay, so okay, and let's ask this question. After navigating to the application, user can see 4 sections. So here we actually test the quantity. So this requirement is about the quantity. We don't test what exact sections located where. We just, is this a test cases list? It used to be, like many years ago, every single test case used to be like a separate document. So every single test case used to have summary, used to have steps to reproduce, expected result, and some field for actual result, where you mark actual result, and if they don't match, it failed. If they match, they actually pass, right? So it used to be like that, but so obviously it's not worth your time to create so complex test cases. So what every company end up with currently at this time is just a list. It looks like a checklist. Yeah, it looks like a checklist, right? Just a list of checks that you're doing, right? But we actually came from test cases, so we still call them test cases. But at this moment, the test cases look like a checklist. Yeah, because we used to have checklists separately and test cases separately, like maybe like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Test cases look differently. But all the companies, people realized, why do I need for checking the color of the button, which is very quickly, like second, right, for manual testing. Like, I need a really second to open the application and take a look at the button. It's blue or red or whatever, right? Why I need to actually spend a minute or so to create that test case, saying that, hey, here is the summary, here are the steps to go to that button, like, and here is the expected result, and here's the actual result when I tested it, etc. So why is that? So people just end up with understanding that it's not worth the time that we spent, and we end up with this. So what you need to do is create a complete sentence that describes your check, whatever you're checking, right? In this case, it's obviously was very simple. I just copied and pasted because it was a complete sentence. After navigating to the application, user can see 4 sections, right? So let's say business analyst replied, hey, thanks for catching that I updated the requirements. Catching that I did the requirements. So I like the okay, I need to update it then. 4. Oh, it disappeared. Oh, like this. This is what I do usually, because if you replace this, the comment disappears. That's a weird functionality in Google Docs. 4. So I delete this. I delete this. Okay, 4. I did it, then I come as a tester, see 4, nice, and I resolve it. That's it. Now it has 4 sections. That's fixed. And then you need to see, right? In general, you see that the text area is the first one. But you can actually take a look here as well and say the text area is located in the top. The first section is the text area, or the first top left section is the text area. That's the complete sentence, right? You need to, by the time when you create test cases, you already read everything. So you already understand, you have understanding about how application looks like and how it works. So at this time, you understand that the text area is the section that displayed in left top, right? This is the left top section. So, and then you can say the left top section is the text area. And then you ask a question. Is that clear for everybody to understand that the left top section is the text area? Yes. The answer is yes, because if person reads this sentence, the top left section is the text area, it's very easy to read, right? And understand. And that's how you need to do. Because what people usually do, copy paste and do like this. Text area. Then copy paste, image. Oh, image. And then and copy paste. And what happens when a new person comes to the project, like somebody who just joined your company, and you tell them, oh, you go and execute those test cases. I already create test cases. Go and execute them. It's very easy. That person comes here and says, text area. What am I going to test here? I'm like, the text area is big, small. The text area is aligned to right, left, bottom, top. So what are you testing here, right? So I will have to go to that person and ask the question, what do you mean by text area? So that's incorrect way. You don't copy paste. You, based on your understanding of the requirements. And that's why you start writing the test cases only after you completed this, after you ask all the questions and got all the answers. And I tell you then in the chat, I will communicate to you and say, hey guys, the application requirements are ready. They are completed. I answered all the questions. You're good to go. And then you go and start creating the test cases. So by that time, you already have a good understanding how the application looks like and works, right? And you then can easily describe that by your full sentences, because the text area is the left top section. So the right top section is the image, and that's what we're going to actually do. I copy paste the right, and then just replace. The right top section is the image. And then again, the left bottom section is the table, or how it's called. Yeah, just table. And the right bottom section is the get inline button. I will copy it from here. Get inline button is the get inline button. So now when somebody comes to my test cases and they actually read my test cases, it's very clear for them what to test and how to test, right? They actually will check that there are 4 sections, like quantity. You test quantity, and then you test, okay, let's check if the left top section is the text area, the right top section is the image. And why you do this separately? Why you not combine all of them in one test case? Because they may fail separately. Because you may have 4 sections, but they will have different order, different location. So this test case, saying about 4 sections, it will pass when you will be testing it. So this is for the next lesson. You don't touch it, right? So this will be working correctly. You will still have 4 sections, but the location will be different, and those test cases will fail, right? Because the location of them will be different. So, but this will pass. That's why we have separate test cases, one for location, one for the text area to make sure that it's left top, that the right top is the image, left bottom is the table, right bottom is the get in line button, and etc. And then you go one by one and say, okay, so we already covered this. We didn't have to test it. We already covered it. We actually go and test. So X, what X means in this case? Oh, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Updated. Updated. Yeah. And it should be 3 lines, right? So now it says consist of 3 lines. So in this case, I don't copy and paste consist of 3 lines. What consists of 3 lines? Obviously, when you read the requirements, you understand text area consists of 3 lines. So that's what you need to actually copy. This is how you need to actually create your test case. Yeah. Area consists of, oh man, I had this copy. I just need to paste it. Consists of 3 lines. And now it's clear. Even if I have this separate test case without anything else, I understand that text area consists of 3 lines. I open the application and check that it always consists of 3 lines. And that's it, right? And you go one by one. Then you see that those are 3 lines, and you, of course, you want to test that every second line is a specific value. So this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line, right? And you say the first line, the first text area line is, and you can put column and then copy this. There are the second text area text, the second. So you use cut paste, but just to save your time, to actually copy and then replace something. There are, the second one is X people. X people. X is the number of people in the line, right? You don't have this requirement, but this is what you will get answer about from the business analyst again, right? And you will be able to create this test case once I update the requirements fully and we work on this. And then the third line and in the line, third line, the third text area line is we have here in the line. And this is important because this is exactly what we expect. And this is how you work as a tester, right? So people, they create the requirements. There is some vision. Some people, they have a vision. Then business analyst creates like detailed requirements, working with the design team to create the design. And there is a specific reason why they want to have these in 3 lines. Just, to have a nice design, maybe to have specific, to make it easier for people to read it, and etc. So usually there is a specific reason why we have specifically this requirement. And that's important because if you don't cover this by test cases, that the first line is this, the second line is this, and the third line is this, and something changes, like 3 moved to this once you have the application. And you don't have the test cases for that because you didn't cover this, right? So you're going to miss that bug, and somebody will find it, and they will never think about you as a good QA. So that's why our actually work begins here, and this is really important time for you, because if you do everything properly here, you will have clear requirements to create test cases. If you have correct list of test cases, it's very easy for you then to test, because the next step after this, during the next lesson, will be just to go through them and compare with the application, with actual result, with actual application that you have. And if it works like described in your test cases, it's good. If it doesn't work, you mark it as fail, and then you go and report a software bug. That's what we're going to do next as well, next lesson. That's what you need to do for the 2 lessons, right? So in general, this is what you do. So actually, once you do everything correctly here, the next step is easier for you, because it's easier to understand what exactly to cover in the test cases And if you cover everything in the test cases, like if you think about every single task that you need to perform and cover that by test case, that's it. At this point, your life becomes super easier, because the next step is to go through the list and compare with the application. Like, okay, after a user opens the application, you open it, I can see 4 sections. Yeah, I can see 4 sections. Mark it as pass with a check mark, right? Then the left top area is the text area. Yeah, it's a text area. Pass, right? The right top section is the image. Nice. Yes, that's correct. You mark it. Then you see left bottom section is the table. Oh, I have a button here. Oh, the table is on the right. Oh man, it's like mixed. It's shifted. Okay, then you fail that test case and report a bug. But you never miss anything because you covered everything. You covered every single test case, every requirement by a test case. And then once you test, your work is very simple, because you're just comparing whatever you have in the application in your test cases. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Whenever it fails, you just need to report that software bug. Create a specific report that we will be learning next time. And it's also very simple, because you actually have everything for it. You have actual result, because you see the application, and you have expected result in your test cases or requirements. So you actually exactly have everything for your bug report. So your life becomes super easy. So really, this part and this part are the most important, because if you start doing everything correctly here, no problems, and your life becomes super easy in the next parts of this cycle, right? The QA cycle that you do every single release. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. This is your job till the next Tuesday. So your first part of the homework or your project assignment will be to go through the requirements, read them, pay attention to details, and find those contradictions or incompleteness. Something is incomplete. You don't have the information to understand it fully, right? Or ambiguities, something just not clear, right? So you actually ask questions. You mark part of the code, part of the text, and actually add a comment. So these guys, like, they are straightforward. There is no way for you just to check them right now if they are matching or not, right? It's just something that you will be able to test in the application, and you, for now, you just trust. But other than that, if something is not matching, the amount of elements are not matching with what displayed, or something is not clear, something is not described, right? Here it describes very well how ID is formed. But let's say it's not there. So how actually you understand how it's formed? You have a question. So you ask a question about that. So same here, right? What does this mean? We had an answer during the meeting with business analyst, but maybe you have the question right now. So you asked about these asterisks over here. So what does it mean? Etc. So that's your first part of the project assignment. You have to go through the requirements and ask questions. Sometimes, you know, the entire element is not described. So business analysts described one button and forgot to describe another button. Sometimes it's like that. So you take a look at the design, say, okay, where's the first name described? Over here. Where's the last name described? Over here. What is the birthday described? Over here. What is the vaccine radio buttons described? Over here. What is the cancel button described? Over here. What is the submit? Oh, submit is not described, right? Because you see it on the design, but you see don't see the description. So that's how you find these problems. You select this part of code and add a comment. That's your part of the job, first part of the job. Then me as a business analyst will go here, update the requirements for you, get the final version for you. Once you have the final version, I will tell you in the chat. It will happen in a couple of days. I will just be as quick as possible. In the couple of days, you will get the final version of the application, and then I will just send you the message in the chat, in the Slack channel, saying, hey guys, you are good to go. You can actually start testing, start creating the test cases. Then you open this document. What you will need to do, actually, I have this document. I will share it with you. I will share this document with you. And what you will need to do, you will actually need to make a copy. It will create a copy to your Google Drive, right? Copy of the test cases. You can call them test cases by and your name. Tango. And as you can see, there is a folder in your Google Drive where you can actually store your test cases and make a copy. It will create a copy of this document. It will be your document. You will be able to edit it, do whatever you want with it, and etc. So you create test cases here. Then, once you're done with your test cases, it will be just maybe a weekend, Sunday, Monday, whatever, just before the Tuesday. Once you're done with the test cases, and your goal actually to cover all the requirements. So that's the goal. That's what you do on the project. You go to share, and you select anyone with the link, and you can do commenter. You can comment. Commenter, right? You make it as a commenter and copy this link and send it to me. I will actually send you instruction what to exactly do, but this is just an explanation for you right now on the video, right? Maybe you prefer to watch the video. I will copy this link, send it, and you send it to me. You send it to me, and I will check your test cases. I will show you exactly how to do that. Okie dokie. So seems like that's it. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So let me do the next thing. Let me do this message. Let me think. QA1, QA lesson 1. Work is here. And I will put a nice nice finger pointing down. Is there a point? Yeah, like this. Is here. So how we do? In order not to spam and have a lot of messages in the chat, we usually in Slack there is a nice functionality, threads, right? Reply in thread. You actually hover over here and reply in thread, and post your links to the cases here. Okay, and then as you can see, there is one reply. You can open it and you post your links over here. So you actually reply in thread, or you can click one reply and it will open it for you, and you will be able to reply over here no matter what. So don't post your messages over here, not to have a lot of spam, because it will be really hard to find that message. Believe me. So tomorrow you will have coding lesson. If you start posting your QA lesson homeworks, if you start posting your coding lesson homeworks here, it will be a lot of spam, and it will be really hard for you to find that needed information, and for me to find your specific homework. So that's why let's have one single message for the homework, and you just reply in thread and you post your link with the test cases over here. Again, the first part is the documentation, and I will be just getting the notifications once you leave the comments. So no links required here, but for the test cases, you will actually need to post your link in this thread. And yeah, I will have links, and if everything is okay, I will reply saying that, or mark it as with a check mark, that is done, like this. I usually do like this. So that means I checked your homework and it looks great. I will post something like this. Yeah, so that means I checked your homework, it looks great. If not, I will be able to check your homework next Tuesday before the lesson. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I will also post some instructions, right? In here, some instructions, probably link to a slide describing what exactly do with the requirements, how you actually leave a comment, like a right click, like very detailed instruction. And that's what also will show you if you're a good QA or not, because our job is all about following the instructions, right? We have the instruction, how the application will look like. If we follow it and make sure that it works correctly, we are good QAs, right? We either report bugs and developers fix them and we make the application better, or we actually cover everything correctly, don't find bugs, but we actually cover everything. We test everything, but developers just did their job great and you didn't find any bugs, which is possible, of course, but you just make sure that you did everything correctly. So that's why when I post detailed instructions, how to actually and where to do the homework, if you follow them exactly, like, okay, go to this document, read the requirements. If you have a question, select part of the text and leave a comment. And this is how you leave a comment, either right click and select leave a comment, or there will be icon on the right and you leave a comment. Same with the test cases. I will actually tell you what to click to make a copy, how to rename it, right? And then how to share it with me and send the link. I will describe everything, like step-by-step instruction for the homework. And your goal just to follow it. That's pretty much it. Any questions? Come on, this is your course. This is not mine. I'm doing this all the time. So I used to do this. It's a regular thing for me, but for you, this is something new. This is something exciting. So yeah, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. Yeah, Jacob, go ahead.
So what is due for tomorrow in regards to homework?
Nothing. You can start reading. So this homework is due till next Tuesday. For tomorrow, nothing is due yet. So actually, there is nothing for you to do till tomorrow. Till tomorrow, you will have the first coding lesson, and it will have some homework for the next Wednesday as well. But till tomorrow, nothing is due because that will be the first lesson. You can just start doing this homework partially, right? Start reading the requirements, asking questions, so I can get something and start working on it, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, guys? Okay. Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you cannot ask questions anymore. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly in Slack or ask a question in Slack channel. There's our channel that you can ask questions in. Yeah, feel free and go ahead and ask me questions here as well. And if that's it, then good luck tomorrow and see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys. Oh, I have to stop recording first. Yeah, no problem, guys. This is something I like to do, and I hope that you enjoyed this as well. So let me stop the recording. Yeah, and I will also share the link to the recordings as well.